Hey everyone, I'm Josh Loftus, and this is the Everyday Monday podcast, the podcast where we talk about everyday people doing everyday things in everyday churches. Whether you're a pastor, a plumber, or that dude that thinks being a man means not wearing cargo shorts, this podcast is for you. This is where we find value in the trenches of Christian life. Welcome to Everyday Monday. And in the trenches with me today, I have a very special guest. He's the author of such books as Younger, Restlesser, and Reformer, the novel Playing Saint, and he's a podcaster on quite a few podcasts. I have the Honorable Reverend Zachary Bartels with me today. Mr. Bartels, how are you, sir?
Who doesn't wear cargo shorts and thinks they're a man?
Okay, so here's the thing. So you're on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
So there's this guy that I don't know what his name is, but he posted this picture of 99. He says in honor of, what was it? In honor of Mark Dever's birthday and the anniversary of like 9 Mark starting or something like that. Here's 99 things that you need to be considered a man. And I pray it was satirical. Because there was some stuff on there like, you don't wear flip-flops, don't wear cargo shorts, always wear a white undershirt.
That I do. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Yeah. I mean, but
usually
the day
just
you
that,
don't.
you know?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, well, and maybe that's what he was going with. Yeah, what if we just wear white undershorts? But you have to wear long pants, and if you don't wear a watch, you're not a man either. So that's interesting. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I reposted. I'm like, I hope this is satire because I'm literally reading this in flip flops and cargo shorts right now. So that's.
What if you have one of those like chain watches, like the
ooh,
fob
a chain?
watch?
Yes, a chain watch, right? Yeah, that would be. I think that'd be fine as long as the chain watch went from like your pocket up to like your pants, right? As long as it's a long chain.
All those things to me sound like they're great in theory, and then as soon as you like see someone trying to live them out, you're like, okay, this is just like hipster D-bag territory. There's no, there's, like Ted Kluck and I wrote a book called The Christian Gentleman's Smoking Companion, which contains some. This is before hipsters became really what they, really moved in. Right. And there was stuff about wearing hats because we loved the era when men all wore hats. Yeah. Making sure you shave like a man, so get the little thing with,
That's right.
And as soon as I started seeing people like wearing fedoras, and I was like, no, you know what? Unpublish. Let's not do that.
Yeah, no, exactly. So we're gonna pull an audible here. I'm gonna read you some of these, and I want your hot takes on them, okay? Because this is interesting. So he has under the 99 steps toward manhood. He has them broken up into different sections. He's got Christian life, personal habits, attitudinal, relational qualities, relationships with the opposite sex, and then miscellaneous. And miscellaneous is where all the good stuff's at. Right? So 99 steps toward being a man, starting at 64. You have to be on time, which is a good thing, right? Get a driver's license, get a job. Don't wear, and he calls them thongs. He means flip-flops. I don't know who calls them thongs.
Well, don't
anymore.
wear thongs though, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah. Yeah, he does preface underwear or footwear. Wear a belt, wear shoes with shoelaces, learn to tie a tie, learn to polish a shoe, learn to drive a standard transmission, learn to use jumper cables, learn to build a fire. So it's just all this stuff. He says you have to get a dog. Ooh, you have to get rid of your neck hair.
I mean, this all sounds fine. It sounds like the kind of thing that's okay with freedom. But as soon as you get legalistic about always having to wear long pants.
Right.
Unless you're in the mafia. I mean, good grief.
That's true. That's true. Don't ever get a manicure and drink coffee, not tea. So, okay. I mean, that works. There's a lot of English men that are mad at him right now, but that's okay. Whatever. Well, okay. Well, that was fun. Well, Zach, give us, before we hop into just what we're actually supposed to be talking about, just kind of give us a short bio of who you are, what you do for a living. Just kind of tell us a little bit about you, man.
Well, I am a pastor of a incredibly normal-sized church in the capital city of Michigan. I'm also an author of some books, as you mentioned. The co-regent over the Gut Check Empire with my boy Ted Kluck, which is I don't want to say global, and I don't want to say multimedia, and I don't want to say I want to say all those things. It's all those things.
I would say I would say cosmic.
Cosmic,
personally, but,
I mean, all
yeah.
right. In that we wrote the great American novel, which was also the great kind of one world government novel called Re-Raptured. So yeah,
Re-Raptured, yeah.
that's kind of what I do for fun is smoke cigars and podcast and write books. And got one son, one wife.
What one? Man of one son and one wife. Excellent. Well, I think that's on the list here. So you're doing well so far.
All right.
Yeah. But Ted Kluck is the one member of the Happy Rant that I have not had on the podcast yet, and you can confirm this. Well, here's the thing: he's not anywhere on social. I can't get a hold of him anywhere. He doesn't have a Twitter. He doesn't have a Facebook, at least that he looks at. And I finally got Barnabas to con me his email. So
we're
gonna be getting him.
I could have given it to you. It's not that hard to find. I think he just I don't know. He likes being off the grid. And I don't get it. I don't get it.
So give us just a little bit of, tell us something about your church there that you really, really appreciate, really, really value. What's something about Judson that you just absolutely love it?
Well, one thing, whenever people are here, I always take them down into the basement, the bowels of the church, and show them our Love Clothing Center, which is basically like, it looks like a Goodwill or something. It's just racks and racks and racks and racks of clothing, all for children.
There you go.
So from like toddler 3T, whatever it is, up through high school, and we've clothed 40,000 kids since that thing's been open. And it looks like a store, and we call them shoppers and stuff, but it's all free. And so people who, especially this time of year, people are going back to school. We're able to give them new clothes, used clothes, 7 pairs of new underwear, 7 pairs of new socks. It's a huge blessing to the people who do it and to the people who are involved in the ministry. And I have almost nothing to do with it, and yet it's always where I take people in the church to show them how cool the church is. I really love
very
that.
Cool. A lot of Gucci, a lot of like high end.
You would be surprised the high end stuff we get. Honestly, we're in a university town, and there's a huge international student contingent there, and a lot of really rich people. And I mean, every year in the spring, there are 2 or 3 or 4, I'm talking Porsches, even Lamborghinis that are just abandoned because an international student bought it for cash, drove it for 4 years, and was like, it's not worth even dealing with. It's not worth my time. Just leave it. So a lot of.
So how do you get into that market? Because I could see that that would be quite the church quote unquote ministry. Is we've got 4 or 5 Lambos out in the back that we're going to repurpose for missions trips, right?
Probably it wouldn't even be worth their time to sign over the title, but I'm sure what happens is they wind up in auctions. Which is
That's right. We're going on a mission trip to Daytona Beach. Who's with us? Yeah. That's an awesome service you guys are doing. That's really, 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 really neat. So kind of dovetailing a little bit into, I don't know how it is in your area, or I think it's different depending on where you are in the States, but would you say that getting plugged in church and seeing the value of serving and community there, is that something that you guys just kind of have down, and that's something that you are really, really seeing in your community, or is that something that you would say is lacking?
Well, I mean, you have kind of the spectrum in any church where you have the 80-20 rule, where 20% of the people are doing 80% of the stuff. And I don't just mean like ministry and scrubbing floors. I mean, even when you have something that's fun, you have a core group that'll be there all the time. Anytime the doors are open, then you have, the further toward me-centered things get, the larger, I think, a share of people recognize the value of it. Learning and feeding and studying, you'll get a little bit bigger group, and then you'll always have a good chunk, probably half the people who just show up on Sundays, and that's their involvement in church. And of course, lately, trends are those people who used to show up every Sunday show up every other Sunday now, or maybe even a little less than that, which I'm still waiting for someone to explain that to me in a way that is satisfying. But that's, I mean, we're no outlier in that way. We have I think we're always trying to increase the number of people who are quote unquote engaged with or plugged into the church in a more holistic way, where it's kind of like a key part of life and not something that's just tacked onto it. And I think, because I think that reflects whether or not always, I suppose, but the way it's supposed to be is that reflects whether or not Christ is a key part of your life or just a little module that you've attached. And I think you see when things get difficult, for whom it was just a little extra add-on, because it's easy to pop off and it falls away. Like when you delete icons you don't use on your desktop. Rather than it being the operating system is Jesus. Then at which point, it takes a real major reformat to expunge that. So I think we do as well as anyone. But I think any church that's older, in our church, I'm hoping to be here for the 100-year, the centennial celebration, which won't be till 2031. But if you've been around a while, you'll always have people who have kind of the old family connection to the church. But
sure.
So I think in like a new church plant or something, you're more likely to have, these are all people who are like, I need Jesus in my life. I'm there. Right. And I have those here. We have those. Every church has those, hopefully. But I think in a new church plant or a even like kind of a relaunched church or something like that, where there's kind of an emphasis on a bunch of people coming in and starting something. The fact that they're starting it and they're pouring themselves into it means you're going to have a much larger share of people who say, yeah, I'm all into this. Whereas when I first got here in 2005, I could visit all but one of my shut-ins, and I had like 12 on foot easily. They were right around the church, which was cool. Right. But it's also an indicator that you were kind of more of a parish church, and one of the challenges that comes with that is a lot of people just go there because it's where their family, it's where they grew up, and that's cool. It's good stuff. But then you have to work all the harder to make sure this is also a value in their lives. Now, there's only one of my shut-ins that I could visit on foot. The rest of I've done 161 funerals or something in 14 years. Wow. And most of the people, you have to get in a car and drive, So people are coming in from a distance to a church. I think then also you're more likely to find people who are engaged with it.
Because you said you have those people that are already all in, right? You don't need to convince them of why community of believers is important. They're there. But then you've got the other aspect of people who perhaps don't see why it's important, don't want to put the time in to it. It's more of a connection, like you said. How have you gone about perhaps, slowly changing the thinking a little bit and trying to change the mentality to getting them to that place where they are all in for the right reasons, right?
What's odd is I don't really have a better answer than offering more things, and I don't feel like that's the most kind of biblical way to do things. But if it works, it works. People aren't going to be plugged in if there's nowhere, for them to plug. If they're holding a standard like 3-prong American outlet and they look around and they're all weird, it's just nothing that really connects with them.
Sure.
So you have to make sure that your ministries are broad enough in scope, which is harder for a smaller church like us, to make sure we have. But for example, I had a couple of young guys. Now, God, I'm 41 now. I almost said 42. I don't know how I aged myself a year. So young guys might mean guys in their mid to late 20s. Young guys getting saved, coming to faith a little later in life after living quite a bit without Jesus. And coming into here going, well, where and when is the men's thing? And I'm going, well, we have a bi-monthly men's breakfast where we just kind of shoot the scuba and eat, and then we used to have a weekly Bible study where we would gather at a restaurant, eat a burger, and just this guy had this thing called the Serendipity Bible, which was basically definitely for women.
Serendipity.
Each passage had like a icebreaker
sounds like a white rapper.
Actually, that's Ronnie Martin's alter ego. So
it's Serendipity. Love it.
Did you see, by the way, the
Serendipity
screenshots from some of those old Joy Electric?
Dude, I did. They are so good. Oh man, like I sent Ronnie Martin the just like so the song Monosynth, the music video to that, one of my favorites ever.
Is that the ones where they're jumping around on the giant keyboard?
I think so. He's like pale white. Yeah. It's the creepiest, and I sent it to him. Yeah, just nothing. He hates it.
In like 2014, Ted was like, "Hey, we just added this guy to the podcast." I was like, "Is that the guy from Joy Electric?" 'Cause I was like tooth and nail head in the 90s.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, "You need to see this." And I just pulled out the laptop and I showed him all of the videos, especially Burgundy years. He made me play it like 7 times.
Oh man, yes.
The one with like
classic.
the little castle and everything. I have DVDs of that stuff on it. Hilarious. I
so
like
good.
that he's a little bit sheepish about it because I could have seen him going either way.
It's like his hidden past that he like will still like he still benefits from and he'll still reference, but when somebody else talks about it, he's like, no, that wasn't me. I don't know who that was. I love it.
Boy. Anyway, so we had a
sorry, go ahead.
It had died somehow, just kind of faded away, and so I said, let's just start something. Let's just start meeting once a month maybe, and do a Bible study. So we started meeting. That turned into this homeless ministry, which also now we went to twice a month. And then last time one of the guys is like, well, on the weeks that we're not meeting, everyone can come to my house and we'll just, keep reading through Judges. And I think just almost like that fresh fire of a new believer and the kind of forward momentum of something starting kind of drew a few other people that were not as involved in stuff, but we're certainly not walking away from their faith or anything. Strong Christians,
sure.
Just kind of renewed their interest in coming to church a little more and being involved and having fellowship.
Well, and it's it's those guys that you were talking about that just kind of have that zeal for wanting the word, wanting that community, wanting to hang out and talk and just get plugged in. Like that's really cool to me because, like you said, I think when that happens, it kind of rejuvenates some people, right? Who might have gotten, in my case, a little lazy. It's just kind of like, I do enough, right? And just kind of like rekindles that. No, this is good stuff. Like this is what we should be doing, right? It's those kind of Christians who have that zeal and give of themselves that really, really encourages me, really inspires me to want to do that more. Who are the people for you, Zach? Either people that are in your church now or people that you've read or listened to or interact with. Who are the people for you that inspire you and kind of give you that encouragement to want to have more zeal and do more that you do now, obviously for the right reasons, right? But who are those people for you?
I think people who have kind of a really pure love and a really pure hate for the right things, like people who really love Jesus, really love the least of these, really love their enemies. And people who really, really hate sin and hate the flesh, and I don't mean that in an ascetic way, hate their sin nature, hate the old Adam, the old Eve in them,
right.
And aren't willing to compromise with that kind of thing. That when I see somebody exhibiting those two things together, that for me is a major indicator as to somebody I should be learning from, following along with, etc.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, Zach, being in ministry as long as you have, going to women's luncheons and things of the like, I'm sure that you have those stories, those unforgettable moments that you're just in the middle of, and you're like, what in the world is happening right now? Like, I can't. It's like an episode of The Office, right? So the question for you is, what is one of the most funniest or most unforgettable church experiences you have ever had?
I don't know that I have one.
Okay, that's fine.
I can hit you with a few.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
I can't choose just one.
That's fair.
I almost killed my secretary once. I was visiting her in the hospital, and she had always said this funny little line that she was a diabetic, but not a practicing diabetic.
Okay.
And apparently she had made the shift to either needing to be or actually being a practicing diabetic, and I went in there holding her favorite drink from Big B Coffee, which was full of sugar. And I was like, here you go, Noelle. And she drank it while we chatted. Oops, I just said her name. Her name's Noelle. And right after she got done, she threw away the cup. They walked in. They tested her sugar. The nurse, turned white, ran out of the room, ran back in with, a bag of insulin. And she's like,
oh, no.
Oh, my goodness. So, yeah.
What did you just do?
Right. Yeah. I don't know how all that works. I just know I shouldn't have given her. She shouldn't have drank it. Ultimately, it was on her.
Yeah. It's her fault. It's her fault, Zach.
I think
blame her.
She wasn't really, yet thinking in those terms. Or maybe she assumed I knew and I was giving her a sugar-free thing. Two more. One, I just heard this last week. A former pastor of ours had just passed away. Fairly unexpectedly, and people were telling stories about the church when he was here and about him and his ministry and stuff. And one person shared that he had been on a roll preaching about being a VIP in God's eyes. Okay, which stands for very important person. I'm sure the text bore it out. I don't know what he was preaching on exactly, but he kept saying, "You are a VIP. God so loved the world." Whatever. And so he gets onto this riff talking about your VIP-ness.
Yeah.
Which turns quickly into, and so remember your VIP-ness. And apparently he said it about 30 or 40 times, and his wife was trying to catch his eye, and everyone was trying not to laugh.
Stop it.
But he never, and afterwards somebody pointed it out, and apparently all the tape ministry at the time,
yes.
The bulk eraser went over
ministry.
the original there, and no tapes were sent out that week.
Sorry, guys. We had a fire.
My favorite, though, has got to be, I was bringing a youth group up to northern Michigan, way up north. There's a community that's right on the edge of the lake. There's a prison in the community. It's very impoverished. So we all went up there for a week-long service trip. And some of these guys were staying at a really big Catholic church, and they had the gym and everything. And a few of these guys were playing basketball. Shooting hoops, just not an actual game, just shooting hoops. And so I walk up, and I'm, of course, at the time, I'm not, this is a few years back, but I'm kind of older to them. I'm an older, middle-aging, chubby, uncool guy. Right. They are not expecting much of me. And there's a guy who's the very opposite of that, who's holding the ball, who didn't really know me very well. They just started attending the church back then. And I said, "Hey, hit me." And he throws me the ball, and I'm way behind the three-point line. I mean, I'm way back there. Now, I am not a basketball player. Okay. I suck at basketball. But I throw that one up.
That's right.
Absolute swish, nothing but net. And I look at this guy, I said, "Brett, you probably thought because I am a older, dorky, white, middle-aged pastor that I was going to suck at basketball." He was like, "I kind of did." I said, "Well, that will teach you to prejudge people." And I turned around and walked away, never touched another basketball.
I know, I was going to say, don't ask me to do it again.
It's a 1 in a billion, man. In fact,
it's like you shoot draining, like, oh, crap, now I got to say something. I got to say something clever. I wasn't even expecting that.
The funny part is I had been intending to put it off the backboard.
Right.
And I missed the backboard entirely.
Yeah.
It was totally short. If I had been trying to get nothing but net, it would have been like a foot short
just
based
airball.
on my error. So, that was pretty funny. And I never told him. This day,
don't ever.
Moved to Milwaukee. To this day, he probably thinks I'm incredibly good at basketball.
All right, well, hey, Zach, we are almost done, man, but not quite. Now it's time for the Monday Hot Takes. This is when I ask you a whole bunch of random questions. You give me the first thing that pops into your head. You ready for these?
I don't know. By the nature of it, it sounds like I can't be, which is the fun, right? That's the gimmick?
That's part of the fun, yeah.
All right,
yeah.
All right. I am not ready for them.
Good, excellent. Then here we go. All right, start off with an easy one. What's one band or musical artist you're really into right now?
Ooh, a hot take should be quick, right?
Yeah, but that's okay. I can edit out dead space. I can make us sound way smarter than we are.
I am really into the Accidentals right now.
The Accidentals. Okay. All right. I haven't heard of them. I'll have to check them out. What's the worst book you've ever read?
It is either, oh gosh, a guy from Jars of Clay wrote a novel, and it was called Illuminated. I don't remember what his name was, but it was so bad. And the Ted Decker, Frank Peretti team up called House.
Yeah. House.
Which was
I read House.
Such a disappointment. I'm like, Ted Decker times Frank Peretti, but it was more like Frank Peretti divided by Ted Decker. It was not good.
Yeah.
Fred Decker's no good.
Fred Decker's not too good. Did you see the movie?
No, but I really want to. That sounds like one I need to watch with Ted.
It is the largest train wreck in the world, but it's a fun train wreck. You can't take your eyes off it.
Now, who's in it? Anybody famous? That sounds like something that would have
No.
Well, they made a movie of The Visitation, and Edward Furlong was in it. Did you see that
That's true. No, I did not. No. Kirk Cameron's not in it. Sorry. Who's the guy that played Superman? Dean Cain. He's not in it. Sorry.
I would expect
I'm running.
Dean Cain.
Yeah. No, I'm running through all the has-been actors that are in Christian movies now. Sean Austin, Samwise, right? Yeah, he's not in it.
What? If that guy's what? Dude, he's not a has-been actor. That guy was in Stranger Things too.
That was a surprise.
But
then they killed him.
That guy's IMDb is consistent.
Okay.
The reason he was in that Christian movie is because he's a Missouri Synod Lutheran, and that movie wasn't bad.
That's okay. That's fair.
Right? I mean, on the Christian scale, that movie was all right.
On a Christian scale, it was fine. Yeah. But you gotta think about what the Christian scale is, though. Like it's not.
It's shifting, man. There's been a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I hope so.
I was just promoting The Chosen on another podcast the other day. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
Dude,
Chosen. I've seen
The Chosen.
trailers for it.
It's insane. It is better than 99% of television.
Wow. Okay. Well, you heard it here first, folks. Go check out The Chosen. All right, Zach. This should be an easy one for you, but we'll see. If you could send 3 people in a rocket up to space with the express knowledge that you know they're not coming back, who are these 3 people?
They're not going to die in space. They just live the rest of their lives in space.
They're going to colonize Mars with Elon Musk. It's fine. They're just never coming back.
Well, I'm thinking of culpability. A lot of this kind of ethics and philosophy stuff.
No. There's no ethics.
Divinity school.
There is no ethics or philosophy here. It's literally, who are 3 people you don't like? That's literally the question.
I don't feel like I can answer that question. Can they still tweet from Mars, or are we not even gonna?
Do you enjoy their? Sure. Why not?
Thing,
I will make this as easy for you to answer as possible.
I want to still be able to reference Jonathan Merritt's tweets. But
yes, yeah, okay.
Probably, I would just say whoever the top 3 minds are, or the top 3 content providers. I know the names, but I'm not going to say them. At Pulpit and Pen.
Ooh,
you're on the chip. You're out of here.
That is
adios.
That's all we need. 100%. Yep, everything will be better. Okay, besides war and diplomacy, what would be the best way for countries to settle disputes? Barnabas Piper said rock, paper, scissors. No, he said tug of war. Yeah, he said tug of war.
I don't think we would do great at that, honestly. I mean, think about, like, the Russians would beat us. Like, there's hardier people than Americans. We've got fast food over here.
We've got obesity on our side, though. Just I mean, they can be the anchor.
Dead weight.
Dead, yeah, just literally sit down.
Dead weight.
Just sit down. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, a bunch of Ivan Dragos who've been running around like a futuristic Bally's Total Fitness, getting injected with like green stuff. They're going to be able to pull you. I don't like that. I don't like rock paper scissors. That leaves too much to chance. Certainly not a soccer match, because then we would become, last at the table. I think maybe.
Always.
I guess basketball. Dream team.
Okay.
Yeah?
Let's do it. Basketball. All right. Works for me. All right, Zach. Best and worst genre of music.
Best genre of music is 90s pop punk.
Oh,
worst
my
genre...
wife will love you.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. She's a big punk rock.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. She loves it.
Worst genre is definitely like country western music.
Agree. 100%.
Literally, it makes me want to open a vein. I can't handle it.
Okay. What do you resent paying for the most?
See, I'm not a big complainer about having to pay for stuff kind of guy. Like, I'm not like a taxes or theft libertarian. I guess sewer. right?
Sure.
When you
Yeah,
get the
you're
bill and it's
paying-
like water
yeah.
and sewer, and they break it down, and they're like,
Right.
this much is water and this much is sewer, and I'm like, you don't actually know how much went into the sewer. There's no meter down there. I know that
Right.
for a fact. You're assuming it should.
I feel like at this point in the podcast, we need like a cartoon TV show, like flash to the guy whose job it is to actually meter, and he's like, really? Like he's in the
Yeah,
sewer right
well-
now, like measuring. Is like, this is a job.
I like how you did like a dipstick.
Yeah, yeah,
that
oh
would
yeah,
be- like,
oh
there would
yeah.
be, like, a
That's what
guy
that
at
mean-
every house. It's like, there we
12.5 inches. This stuff didn't break down. Charge him. We're moving on here. We're moving on. What fashion trend needs to be brought back?
Braided belts that hang down funny.
Braided belts.
Let's see. Polo. No.
No.
Skip
What?
that
Oh,
one. Rugbies.
Skip it. Rugbies.
Rugbies. That was like my whole.
Okay.
When I was in high school, that
Yeah.
was basically 90% of my waist up wardrobe.
Okay, Zach. So this is gonna be a hard one because both you and I are big film guys. But what is one of your favorite scenes from any movie?
Okay. I'm gonna. Let me give you a couple here.
Okay. All right.
I can't choose.
Right.
All right. Here's one. In The Apostle,
Okay.
when Billy Bob Thornton shows up and interrupts the service, uses the N-word, and Duvall's like, come outside a minute, and beats the crap out of him. I love that scene. Also, the one later where he comes back to bulldoze the church and ends up getting saved.
Yeah.
I would say the scene in The Burbs when everybody goes to the Klopek's house in order to get to know them at Sardine, that one. Probably the scene in Boondock Saints when Rocco shows up to whack the mob guys and he doesn't know that the McManus brothers are there and they pull him in and pretend they're gonna whack him. Yeah, that'll do.
Okay. All right. Well done. All right. If you were a pro wrestler, what would your entrance song be?
I wouldn't be a pro wrestler. It's NA. If I were a boxer,
Okay. How about? Okay. There we go. Boxer. What song gets you hyped?
Lose Yourself, maybe, if that's not overplayed. Or Here Comes the Boom by POD. And I recognize that's putting me firmly in like white trash territory, but oh well.
You've seen the movie Here Comes the Boom, right? With Kevin James. That
I
song's
haven't, but I
played,
saw
like,
the
all
preview and it intrigued me.
It's funny. Go watch it. Yeah. All right, Zach. Coffee or tea?
Coffee. Didn't you see that list earlier?
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about the list. All right. Is there one app that you use but you hate?
Let me show you something, man.
Oh, what? It's pixelated. What is that? A BlackBerry?
It's a Palm Pilot.
Oh, it's a Palm Pilot. Sorry, it's picture, but that's amazing.
All of the
respect
apps,
levels just went up.
All the apps that I have are on except for Castbox and Audible are on my Palm Pilot. I
That's
don't really.
amazing. All right, favorite movie. You have to choose one, Zach. If it's one movie.
I can't do that, man. It's like saying favorite media, and you're like, hold on, do you mean movie or music or what? And you're like, no, you have to choose one because
Fine.
pick a genre. Pick a genre, and I'll give you a favorite movie.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna make me do that. Sports.
Action, Die Hard. Obviously, I'm not a communist.
Okay.
Drama, it'd have to be The End
Drama?
of the Spear. And comedy, probably the aforementioned The Burbs.
Okay. If you had to do karaoke, what would be your karaoke song?
My favorite song to do is Somebody to Love by Jefferson Airplane, and I do it as close to the style of Jim Carrey in The Cable Guy as possible.
That's amazing. Well, on that note, we are closing out. Before I do, Zach, let our listeners know where they can find you, where they can listen to you, where they can read you, where they can watch you, whatever the case may be, man. Rolling out the red carpet, go for it.
www.zacharybartels.com. You can find all my books, my podcasts, and my sermons, and my social media, everything from that website there.
Sounds good. ZacharyBartels.com. Awesome. Well, hey, everyone, you know what you can do. You can head on over to iTunes, leave us a raving review and a 5-star rating. Subscribe on iTunes, Google Music, YouTube, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you find your podcast, we are there. Head on over to Facebook.com/EverydayMondayPodcast, Instagram @EverydayMondayPod. Thanks again to Zachary Bartels for being a guest on. We really appreciate it, man.
No problem. Oh, and don't forget to buy my ebook, Cobra Kai and Sanctification. Strike first, strike hard, no mercy.
That sounds amazing. Go buy it. Go do it right now. Thank you all for joining us in the trenches today. We will catch you on the next step of Every Day a Monday.